folks, how are you doing? Welcome to my channel, Claire Thackeray. Today at the time of filming is, what is today? I think it's the 3rd of January 2024. So, the next group healing, one of you asked me, I think it might have been your first group healing the last time, I'm not sure. And I think you put in the comments, are you going to do another one of these? Yeah, I do these every 6 to 8 weeks. So if this is your first one, there's always going to be one 6 to 8 weeks afterwards. The next one is the father wound, and it's interesting because when I sat down today to do this video that you're watching, I didn't fully realise just how complex this wounding is. You can go online now and you can Google parental wounds and mother wound comes up, it's all over the place. So many people at the minute are going for the mother wound. Okay, why did I say that? Going for the mother wound. Everything's getting pointed at the mother wound. It's the mother wound, the mother wound, the mother wound. When was the last time you heard of the father wound? I can actually be quite honest, I haven't actually heard of it until I got the idea for this group healing. And I got the idea of this group healing when I did the mother wound healing. And I know some of you said, after this healing, are you going to do the father wound? And I said, no, that's coming in February, because I didn't want to hit you with too much, especially if you'd been on the mother wound. We then went on to the narcissistic group healing. We then went on to the end of year, which was a nice flow to it. And now we're going to hit the father wound. I firmly believe that every person walking this planet has the father wound. And the father wound isn't what you think it is. The father wound isn't just one specific thing. It's very much like the mother wound. The father wound is a vast and complex subject. Everyone has it, even if your father was the most loving man on this planet, or you perceive him to be the most lovingest man on this planet. There's going to be something there that needs to be healed. And it's not necessarily that that person was a nasty person. It's just, one of the things that came to me just before lunchtime today was that, and it actually made me feel really sad, and I thought, oh my God. The guide said something like this, that there are many people out there, many of us, are still practicing and believing in and playing in old narratives that go way back to Victorian times and beyond. Now, if you specifically look at the Victorian era, the time when there seems to be more written about the strictness of parenting, children should be seen and not heard, was it spare the rod, ruin the child, smacking bottoms and all of that. It's still out there. And I was like, yeah, but didn't that go in the 70s? It's still there. It's still under the surface, waiting to come to the surface. And there's still many people battling with that, internal battles. And as the frequencies on the planet change, many people that have walked the path of the parent are going to have to find new ways of parenting. Not only are they going to have to find new ways of parenting their children, but new ways of parenting themselves. When you take up the soul contract to become a parent, you take up one of the biggest soul contracts. In fact, I'd say the biggest soul contract ever. You also put yourself in a position where you can struggle to release karma, because when you become a parent, you automatically start to gather lots of other karma. Please don't run from this video, let me explain. Also as well, being a parent can be one of your greatest gifts ever. And not having children can also be, and is, one of the greatest gifts ever. Because when you're a parent, the child or children that come into your life via, physical birth, whether you're the dad or the mum, stepchildren, foster children, adoption, they will bring you opportunities to clear your stuff and to level up and to deal with your internal stuff, your internal chaos. But what happens is, because none of that information's out there, or if it is, we really have to seek it, we go into chaos. We go into pain, and the karma that we come into the earth with, we start adding on to it. Your parent, or you as a parent, can only be the best parent you can be via the examples that you saw, and vice versa. That's not saying that if your parent was abusive, you're going to be abusive, but what can happen is it can come out in different ways. They may have been physically abusive. You may be doing it in a different way. You may want to control the situation. You may be more verbal. You may be more strict. You may even be really slack and let them do what you want, do what you want. Because daddy was strict with me, so I'm going to let you all do what you want. So there's no guidance. So it's extremes. So the whole father wound is a complex subject. So when I think of the father wound and talk of the father wound, what is it for me? So the father wound, it can be between you and your father. So you could be on this group healing because your father was abusive. Maybe it was physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, sexual. Maybe it was downright abuse, that it was so blatant, it was crazy. Or it could be that maybe you felt it was abusive, because this is another thing as well. This does not include sexual abuse, by the way. You may perceive your parent as abusive, but if you brought that to the table and said, I think you were abusive because you used to smack me, or you used to send me to my bed without my tea, or used to ground me, or take my toy off me, or lock me in my bedroom, or whatever it was, they will be horrified, because actually what they're doing is reproducing what they saw, what the society at the time told them was a norm. They're trying to, especially for some of you that came in after the wars, so Second World War, because I don't think any of you will be alive after First World War, Second World War, and then the children that came from that. So you could say to your dad, you were really abusive, and he would be mortified. And I wonder if that's where a lot of stuff comes from, with families where people are trying to have conversations with parents and parents can't take it because in their head they were doing the best thing for them. I will reiterate, this doesn't include the crazy stuff, okay? I can't keep saying it on here because I get re-slapped. The crazy stuff, sexual contact, all of that. That is a totally different thing. But it's a complex matter. So you could be in that situation. You could also have had the most lovingest father ever and he has passed, or you are now having to care for him, or you are now having to care for a father that wasn't the most lovingest of man. You're on your own, his other siblings don't want to know, your mum's died, or maybe your mum's alive, and she doesn't want to know, you're in an awful situation. You also have the father wound, because you're having to care for someone that is possibly being a tyrant. And because the truth is, people get worse as they get older, or can get worse as they get older, especially if they haven't attempted to embrace a healing path. If they've not attempted to heal or take accountability, they will most likely get worse. So they can get more aggressive, more manipulative, more sad, more depressed, more anything, whatever it is that they're struggling with. So you can also have this father wound healing if you had the most loving father but he died. That is still the father wound. You can have the father wound healing if there was issues there, or he was a tyrant, and again, you need the father wound healing. You could also be someone whose parents divorced and your dad wasn't present. You may never have known your dad. You need the father wound healing. You could be someone that is a dad that is now looking back on your life as a father thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Maybe you're struggling with being a father. Maybe the young version of you didn't realise the responsibility of being a father, and now that secret part of you goes, I wish I'd never done it, I can't do it. My guys are saying to me as well that a lot of parents at the minute are actually privately and in conversations when they feel confident, regretting. Let's just sit with that. They're regretting it because they've realised that actually they're causing more chaos, not intentionally, but through their stuff, through not being able to heal their stuff. Because if you think about, I don't know, say this is an apple, it's a bad apple, it's a crystal, it's not an apple, it's a bad apple. So we've got a bad apple, a poorly apple. No, let's call it a bad apple, let's call it a poorly apple, okay? So we've got a poorly apple, and poorly apple thinks, I need a friend. So poorly apple, I want a friend that I want to look after, but poorly apple struggles to look after themselves. That's why they've gone poorly. But if I get a friend, if I get another apple that can come in, I can make me better, it can make things better, and I can be a better person. Other apple comes in, they come in quite close, it then transfers over. You put one apple in it, you know, and it's an analogy. So apple, poorly apple transfers their poorly apple energy onto new apple. So new apple thinks, oh God, that apple there made me poorly, so I need to get another apple and form another apple to make myself better. But what happens is all the apples that come from that one apple become poorly. Okay, it's a father wound. Imagine if, rather than that apple there, if that apple had thought, right, I need to get myself better. So I'm going to heal myself, I'm going to understand myself. So when I'm able and healthy, that's when I'm going to ask another apple to come in. So you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to find a perfect, but you're not going to transfer as much stuff, as much holiness. Does that make sense? And that's how you end up with generational trauma that goes down the aisles, that goes down the lines, the family lines, the bloodlines, the generational lines. And again, it's important when we have these conversations that there is no judgment here. We have to have uncomfortable conversations. It's going to be a big part of your healing journey. You're going to have uncomfortable conversations with yourself in private, in your journals. You're going to have to see uncomfortable things about yourself. You're going to have to see uncomfortable things about the people around you, the world around you. You cannot run from yourself. The day that you go, I'm not going to run from myself. I'm going to embrace who I am and embrace my shadow and embrace my flaws, if you perceive them as flaws. That's how you start to get your power back. So the father wound healing, it isn't about bashing dads. And it's the same thing with the mum healing I did. You can't come into this healing thinking you're going to, people do, thinking it's about, you can't come into this healing with the victim mentality. You can't also come into the healing thinking this is going to be a magic wand, because what can happen in a lot of cases, depending on where you are in your journey, where your wounding is, it can bring stuff up. It can really bring things to the surface. You know, it brings things to the surface for you to clear them, because the healer can't clear them. The healer clears it. Your guides aren't going to clear it. You've got to clear it. Because when you chose to come to this earth, that's what you agreed. That was one of your soul contracts. A guide of light will never, ever, ever jump in and do it for you. A dark energy will. Oh God, it's so easy to invite a dark energy and it's unreal. They will come in and they will run the show for you, but they will destroy you in the process, because that's the aim. A guide of light will not take your personal power. They'll come when asked and give guidance, but what happens is we ask the guides and then they give us the answer. It's like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. There can also be a blame and shame energy with this. It can make you so angry when you feel as though you've been the victim of the father wound. Let's rephrase it. Experience the father wound. Where you can see people and they say the same stories, no matter what their dad does to try and change, to try and rectify it. They won't let them move. They won't give them the benefit of the doubt. They won't give them the space to be able to do that, and they're destroying themselves in the process. I once heard quite some time ago that our perception of people and what they need to be is different from the person and what they think they need to be. So you will meet a friend and you will imagine what that friend needs to be like. If you've got a friend in your life, you have already put expectations on their shoulders without even realising it. And it's the same with lovers, with boyfriends, with husbands, with wives, with children, with society, with bosses, with neighbours. And the truth is, they're just your perceptions. So you may think that a father should be kind and loving and gentle and inspirational and comforting, but your father feels that a good father puts meals on the table, has a strict routine, is strict with you, pushes you to university, pushes you to marry a certain class of person, but that just imploded you. That just didn't work for you. And again, if you sit down and have that conversation with him, he's going to be mortified because he doesn't think he's abusing. He doesn't think that's abusive. So it's not a subject that you can pigeonhole and dark or light. It's not like that. And I think that's one of the big problems with healing at the minute. Way too many people are trying to make it black or white. It's not. It's complex. And I think it's important to have these conversations and have these moments where we really check in with ourselves and check in with our situation. Because the thing is, you're not just doing it for yourself neither, you're also doing it for the ones that came before you and the ones that came after you. Did you know that everything in your generational line is stored within your luminous energy field? So when you come to the earth, you're given an energy field, a luminous energy field, a chakra system. Everything's stored in there. So everything that goes way back to where your bloodline first started, everything. The ups, the downs, the wars, the trouble, the strife, everything is stored within your luminous energy field. It's your blueprint. The same as your own past lives are stored as well. So your system, it's like your phone, it's like your software, your own internal software stores everything. That's before you've even started going about your day-to-day business. So that's why it's so important, especially, I mean, it doesn't actually matter whether you've got children or not, because everything's energy. If you've not got children, but you've got nieces and nephews, if you heal, their healing, your healing affects them. It doesn't have to mean that a child from your womb or your, you know what I mean, or a child that you've helped to conceive, it has to cut, no, energy ripples out. I've told you on this channel where I've had clients that have contacted me and said, this is weird, Claire, since I did that group healing, my husband, that's quite a loud and proud man, has been quite mellow. Or my children that can be a bit quite chaotic have been really gentle and quiet. Are you doing stuff on extended family? No. It ripples out. Whilst you're getting healing, it also affects your neighbours. If you've had was it the last group healing? I was doing some channeling and a knock came to the door and I had to go answer it because it was something I was expecting. And I went to get the parcel. And the lad that was the delivery man, all of a sudden he went, he was looking. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking above the crown. He was looking in the energy field. It was like, what the hell's going on? And I came in and I was like, what's going on? And I came back here and I started channeling again. And I thought, God, yeah, he could sense something in my frequency pumping out. I've had clients that have said that ever since they've had the healing session, people gravitate towards them. Watch out for that, because people that are in pain gravitate towards you, wanting to take a chunk. So that's where your own spiritual protection comes in. And that's not saying you can't talk to someone, because just giving a smile or a little bit of chat to someone can actually really make their day. But everything is frequency. So every time you heal, every time you make a good decision, every time you do something positive for yourself, it ripples out. That's why if everyone, or if so much percentage of the world could start healing, it'd ripple out and then it affects other people and it bounces out. But the opposite can also happen. So you can start to heal and those around you can move. And that's where things start breaking down. I remember doing my, when I did my Reiki attunements, you get a 21-day cleanse. And I remember being told at the time, you'll do, it's like 1, 2 and 3. Each cleanse you do, you'll lose people. What? Each cleanse you do, you'll lose people. You do. I've told you this story. We got married, we had over 90 people at our wedding. By the time we came back off honeymoon and I'd done my first attunements, I'd say we'd lost 80% of that. They were all friends. 80% of those people just went, honestly. Gone. And when I look back, I understand why. Life just starts to change. So the more that you can embody these frequencies, the more it can impact and the more it can ripple out. And that's what it's all about. It's long term. So let's pull some cards for this group healing. And the one I'm going to be using 2 decks. Oops, knocked a crystal over there. Manifesting with Fairies by Karen Kay. And Priestess of Light by Sandra and Taylor and Kimberly Weber. So the father wound group healing, what messages want to come through? Strength and sensitivity. Wow. Being able to be both. Because the truth is, when you struggle with the father wound, you can be hard or oversensitive. You can be both. You feel as though you have to put a hard exterior up, a brick wall. See clients all the time with walls around them to try and protect themselves. What they don't realise is it stops the new energy coming in, so they isolate themselves off. This group healing is about being able to be sensitive, to not being harsh, to be able to find your inner strength. There's also a third eye upgrade coming with it, look at that. The unicorn energy. To be able to trust, because that's the thing, isn't it, as well? If you've got trust issues, they're more than likely going to be traced back to childhood. Of a parent that, I don't know, they've done something either to you, to a pet, to your other parent, and it knocks your trust. You know, if you've had a situation where the one person or the two people in the world you were meant to be able to trust and they haven't, either they couldn't be there for you emotionally, mentally, physically, you didn't get fed properly, you got neglected, they had affairs, all of that kind of stuff, addiction issues, you're going to turn into a person that struggles to trust, or you'll start trusting the wrong people because it's an example that you've been shown. You've not been shown what it is to trust and embody the right type of energies. Peace, to bring internal peace, to be at peace with who he was, to be at peace with the dad that you are. You can also come on this group healing, before I forget, if you are struggling to have children, or if you've been with someone and they've stopped contact, you've had a partner that has stopped you contacting your children, you've lost contact. So the father wound is a vast subject. So it's about being able to find inner peace, to be at peace with who you had as a father, because the truth is you choose your parents, and that is whether they are high-ranking abusers, where there is definite abuse. You're not just smacked on the bum. I'm not saying that it's just smacked, but you know what I mean? You're actually punched. There's sexual abuse, there's physical abuse there. We choose our parents, and that triggers people, and I don't know why it does, because everything we embrace in life is a lesson. And you know what? We'll go into your past life karma, and you will have been the abuser. Everybody has. Unless you're a brand new soul on this earth, and there's very few of them, to be quite honest, and you're gonna have it in your past life DNA. There's gonna be addiction, there's gonna be abuser, all of it. Which is why when we start pointing the finger, which we all do at times, you're actually pointing it at yourself. You can take this back a step as well, and actually we are all one. We are all one. You know, there's many believe that it was just one soul that went boom out into the world. That's just boom. It's like a stone. Think of it as a planet or a stone or a crystal, boom, that shatters and goes off. And this is about reclaiming it. This is a vast subject. Authenticity, to be able to be yourself, to be able to take the mask off. Because again, when you've got the father wound, you put a mask on to protect yourself. To be able to reground. I am seeing this issue hugely at the minute, where people are not grounded, they are not present, they are losing track of themselves, they are not listening, they are not being present, they are being erratic, they are being financially precarious, sexually precarious, they are making silly decisions, they're not looking at what they're doing, they're not keeping a track of their life, they're scattered. And it's really, really bad at the minute, really bad. And there is stuff we can do, but there's not a lot you can do unless the person wants to see it for themselves. And the thing is, a lot of people are just so scattered at the minute, they can't pull themselves back. It's also about enlightenment, being able to see the bigger picture, being able to see the bigger teaching, versatility. Maybe you're feeling sluggish because of something that happened in your childhood. Maybe your dad exhausted you for whatever reason. Maybe his behaviour exhausted you. Maybe he pushed you too much and now you're like, F it. You know, maybe he pushed you too much academically, and maybe, like, I don't know, maybe he's ill now or he's dead now, and you're like, I'll do what I want. I used to live next door to a woman in the house before here, and she lived with her mum, and from what I gather, she'd never left home. So her mum died when she was an old lady, and the woman that was left behind, before the mum died, everything was immaculate. The garden was done regular, it was cleaned. It was an old-fashioned house, but it was presentable, it was clean, it was well maintained. The car was always put on the drive. It ran with good order. This woman was in a wheelchair, man, but she ran that house, and they had gardeners and everything. And when she died, obviously I work with energy, and the daughter just let it go. And I remember thinking, shit, because it was a detached house and you could feel the energy coming in, and it affected our house. It was horrendous because she just let things go, and she let the garden go. There were bushes coming over. We ended up with rats in the garden because she was just putting food out all the time. It was just crazy. Trees growing over, the car being parked in the... She wasn't being facetious. Her mum had kept her with an iron fist, you could tell. The minute mum died, she was stacks of stuff in front of the door. And we used to drive past and think, that house catches fire. If they have a kitchen fire, she's not going to be able to get out of that, because the front door she'd barricaded herself in. It was very sad. But you can have that when a parent's been super strict and they've gone. Either they've gone into a nursing home or they've died. People can go, sod it. And they can really lose sense of their life and sense of who they are. I'm glad I picked one more card. Sovereignty. Sovereignty is not about becoming a king or a queen. It is much more deeper than that. It's about becoming the king and queen of your own life. It's about being a sovereign, independent human being. Also as well, not needing to please daddy as well. And it's the same with mummy as well. You see this a lot. People that make themselves, they become the carer. They jump straight in feet first. I'm the glue that holds this family together. Worst thing you can say or do, because the minute you put the energy out there, the universe will just dump it on you, and people around you will just go, okay. They'll just dig in their hands and they'll say, get on with it. Be the glue that holds it together. So this is about being better than that. This isn't about abandoning people. This is actually what loving is actually about. I remember, who was it? What's his name? Is it Shaman Durek? I can't remember if it was his book. What was that book I read? And I've shared it on here. I can't remember. Spiritual hack. It was something hacks, shamanic hacks or something. It was in his book. And he said, you should always treat the person, not the illness. So you know when, I don't know, say you've got a frail parent. I used to work in nursing homes and you used to see this a lot. A frail person would go to stand up and you'd get relatives or carers that would jump in, and you can see them and they're like that, they're waiting for them to fall. They're waiting, you know, they start to struggle with their coat, putting the coat on, and you see them jump in to put it on. Let them put it on. I remember once a carer said to me, because I could be a bit like that, and she said, no, give them the flannel and let them do it. Even if they just do that and you have to go in afterwards, give them as much power, because the minute you start going in and washing them, different when they're paralysed, we know, but it happens a lot, especially when people start to become ill, where people can jump in, and people can do that with children as well. You see, when children are learning to talk, their parents will stand there and mouth a word. You can see them. You can see the parents getting ready to jump. They're desperate to jump in and stick. You can see the mouth going. You can see the intensity in the parent. So it's about letting people have their space, because actually that is loving. Because otherwise what happens is your parent will decline rapidly and your child will decline rapidly. And you're taking away, there's a thing in shamanism called power theft and soul theft. Ooh, you shouldn't talk about that often. Yes, power theft and soul theft. So what's that like? It's when you're taking someone's power. It's when you're taking someone's soul essence. There's various degrees of it. There's nasty intentional stuff, which I'm not accusing anybody of, but there's also stuff like when you're not speaking your truth with someone. Your best friend always organises Saturday night drinks. Always, Debbie organises Saturday night drinks. It's always her time, her restaurant, her drinks, what she wants to do. And you're like, this is boring me, And you never speak up. You're actually committing soul theft and power theft. Your mother-in-law tells you every Christmas is going to be in this house, in my way, at my table, pulling my crackers, and you think, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to let her do it. But inside, you're fuming. You're feeling depleted and anxious because you've had your power taken off of you. So you don't ever go to your husband or your wife and say, actually, this Christmas, I want it to be for us. You toddle along every year. You're committing power theft and soul theft. Very vast. It's a very vast subject. So we don't want you to be doing that. And you don't want to be doing that to them. So, and this is another reason why the world is in such a karmic ball of mess at the minute. So we need to be better than that. So let's pull some more cards. I'll just do 3 cards from this deck. So this is the Priestess of Light. Achievement, effort plus intention. So like with any healing, whether it's with me or somebody else, whether it's therapy, cognitive behaviour therapy, hypnotherapy, whatever it is you're having, this isn't about the healer or the therapist doing all the work. The more that you can put into this, the more that you will get out. If you remember that, you won't believe that people do these group healings and don't keep track of the dates. They forget, they pay the money, they go off and they lose track of the dates. They're not present with themselves. It's almost like, I've given her £22, she can sort me out. You won't get anything from it. The more that you can be present with it and be accountable during it and observe how your body shifts from the minute you take payment, because I always say this as well, the minute you give me payment, whether it's a one-on-one session, a mentoring session, even a reading, things can start to happen in your life. Things can start to come up to the surface. To be observant of your dreams, to look after yourself through the process, eating healthy, drinking lots of water, gentle exercise, being present, meditation, nourishing yourself. The more that you'll get out of it. If you go into it with anything other than sovereignty, you'll struggle with it. Sacred purpose, eternal flame, ancestral legacy at the bottom of the deck. I'll say it again. Sacred purpose, eternal flame, ancestral legacy. You are the eternal flame. We all are. Are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? You may, and you will have been part of the problem in the past, but going forward with this group healing, we want you to be part of the solution going forward. That's not saying you have this group healing and go around and try and save family members, because that's intrusive. It's about you and your actions. This isn't about you running off and telling everybody in the family what's what, because that's just cringe, as my niece would say. Portal, infinite mind, awakening consciousness. So it's going to be a portal. Every healing is a portal. Awakening the mind. Understanding that you are infinite consciousness. How you deal with your present situation will affect your future incarnations. Power over difficulty. Reclaiming your power. What was Claire talking about earlier? Power loss. I know I said 3, but I mean the root to pull more. Abundance, fortune, wealth and plenty. When we have dealt with the father wounds and the mother wounds, the more we heal, the more abundance flows to us. When we're in pain and trauma and all kinds of chaos, we struggle with getting abundance. And even if we do get money, we still feel poor, we still feel the lack. So the more you heal, the more you can receive abundance. Healing the heart, the power of self-love. What was I saying about self-love and nurture? Getting divine masculine, electric, active power. So this is about healing the divine masculine. Our world at the minute, people bang on about divine feminine, divine feminine, divine feminine. Hello? What are you trying to do? Take yourself out of balance? Because if you... Oh, she's off again. Because if you start just concentrating on the divine feminine, because that's the easy bit, is that. It's actually the healing the divine masculine that's the difficult bit. If you just concentrate on healing your divine feminine, that's going to be brilliant. But what about your divine masculine? Divine feminine is gentle, loving, giving. The divine masculine energy gets the ideas. The divine masculine puts those ideas into practice. It's about sustainability and grounding. That's where you can find a lot of people on the healing path. They've got lots of ideas floating about. They're all airy-fairy. They've got so airy-fairy, it's untrue. And they want to set up these businesses, these healing businesses, but they can't because they're divine masculine. They've not been focusing on it. Divine masculine, don't need, it's the divine feminine. No, it's both. Divine feminine, divine masculine. Balancing them both out. Ooh. Building your world, creation, expansion and networking. One more, I promise you. Soul radiance, phoenix rising. And that's also an intention, is soul radiance, phoenix rising. So, waffle finish. Let me get these cards up, otherwise I'll knock them off the desk. If you would like to take part in this next group healing, the dates of the group healing are the 7th and the 8th of February 2024. It's the same price, £22. That's £22 for the full 2 days, not per day. I keep it affordable so everyone can do it. Okay, everyone can do it, and I always give plenty of time for people to get on it. To take part, you go to the pinned comment or the description box, and how you get to the description box, you see the title where it says more at the end, you click on that and the description box comes up. You scroll down a little bit and it'll say next group healing in big capital letters, the father wound. It'll say the dates, 7th and 8th, and then it'll say, depending on when you watch this video, it'll say watch this video for more information, which will be this video. You've just got your more information because you've already watched it. And it'll say to take part, please click on here. And that link should take you straight to the group healing. If, like some people do, they go woof and they scroll straight down and they miss all that information and they go into my website the way that people go book readings, you'll go straight to the home page. Don't panic, you go to the home page, you go to services and you go to click on services and you click on group healing. That's how it is. I will not send you an email confirmation out, you'll just get a little chitty thing from the website. Everyone that pays, your name comes to me and I put your name on my grid. So the money you pay, things will start to come up, things will start to release, things will start to shift and all kinds of things, because I get feedback. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else then, so I've told you how to. So, self-care during it. Self-care during it is really important. You stay away from alcohol, because alcohol lowers your energy vibe, okay? It destroys you. It leaves you depleted. So no alcohol drinking, even if it's just the one glass. When you're in a healing process, alcohol does not agree with you. No recreational drugs. I don't care how many stories you tell yourself that this certain type of recreational drug is allowed. No, it's not. We should not be on them. Full stop. If you're on medication, take them as normal. Please do not take your medication as long as it is prescribed by a doctor. I am not going to tell you stay on your medication. Do not have pork products, because pork is the lowest vibrating food on the planet and it will give you stomach ache. It really does. If you have the odd sly, if I have the odd sly bacon sandwich now, when I'm not working, when I'm on annual leave, I actually can't tolerate it. Very, very rarely have it now. Very rarely have it now. And if I did, it's on annual leave, it's a bacon sandwich and it's like, I can't eat that. Because and it's nothing to do with pigs. Because people have said in the past, Claire, you saying pigs are lower vibrating animals? No, it's the meat. We're getting like that with a lot of meat actually. It's just the frequency of it. And I think a lot of it is because pigs will eat anything. Anyway, moving on from pigs. Drinking plenty of water to flush the body of toxins, cold, crisp water. Eating light, healthy foods. Making sure that those 2 days that you honour them and respect them. You can work. Some people choose to work. Some people choose to have a couple of days off and give themselves some space. No judgment either way. What works for one doesn't work for the other, and I'm happy for you to work. Physical contact, either kissing or sexual contact or masturbation, is not allowed because your energy field will be open and you do not want to transfer another person's energy and they don't want to absorb any of yours. You can hug your children, and if you're a carer or a nurse, you can still touch. It's the sexual contact stuff. If you're watching this and you think, wow, this healing would be great for our so-and-so, make sure you ask their permission first. Because if you book a healing for someone and you've not asked their permission, number one, karmically between you both, it's game over. You've breached their respect and their boundaries, and also the healing won't go, because for healing to work, the person has got to 100% want it, be behind it, and enjoy with it. And if not, you're wasting your money. So make sure, be gentle, don't ram it down someone's throat. Say, would you like to watch this video? Be gentle about it, tread carefully. Because again, when we're on this path and people are on this path, it can cause issues. It's like, you know, when you feel a bit tired and someone comes up to you and says, oh, you look tired. So I know it's meant in the best possible way, but actually when you're in the middle of it, it can be a bit patronising. So tread kindly when you're going to give these gifts out. And I think that's all I've got to say, really. So I'll go over it again. 7th and 8th of February 2024, £22. Put your name down below. You know the rules, you know the drill. If you've forgotten it, rewatch this video. Rewatch this video just before it happens. Take a note in your diary of the date so you don't forget, because life does get busy. And that's it. If you're new to my channel, oh, by the way, how does it work? I knew I'd forgotten something. I channel throughout the 2 days I'll be channeling. So there's no links, no Zooms, no courses, because I always get the emails, at least 1 or 2 that come in, and they say, what do I need to do? Where's the Zoom link? This is not a Zoom class. This healing is brilliant because it's non-intrusive, so you can go about your day as normal. I will post a video a day on YouTube, and that's just me shuffling some cards, talking about the energies, talking about what's coming up, what to expect, any insights. Do yourself a favour, keep in track with the videos and watch the videos. And yeah, so there's no links, no courses, no classes. You can receive it no matter where you are in the world. So if you live abroad, that's fine. Thanks for watching. Love to all. If you've got to the end of this video and you want to leave a comment but you're not sure what to put, leave me the dad emoji in the comment section. Should we have a little mantra with that as well? What mantra shall we have with the father wound? I am sovereign. You don't have to put I'm sovereign. You can just put the dad emoji in the thing. If you want to put I'm sovereign, or any other intention that you want to put, you know, with sending that out to the universe, or you can just use it in your journal. Let's not freak everybody out and have them putting their personal stuff in the comment section. I don't expect you to do that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going now. Love to all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.